Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Bebop here. Today's video is going to be about the most important gear set that you can have in your arsenal. Every New World player should have it at some point. If they want to get into a Hive or a Sandworm as DPS, this would be the most sought after one. Now, what is this class? It's the Evade Rapier class. I'm not going to cover the bleed in this one. I have a video separate on my YouTube that covers bleed and evade in totality, so you can feel free to check that out and look that up. But what you want to have is obviously the artifact finisher. You're going to put disdain infliction on there, and that's going to help give you the most dot damage and damage overall. So make sure you have that. And then we're going to cover the gear here. You're going to want as much enchanted ward pieces as you can. Okay, if you have 5, that's fine. If you have 4, that's still fine. Try to get 5. Now, you also want health on as many pieces as you can, and especially the amulet, because everything is just ready to one-shot you anyway if you're low con, and that will boost your overall health and help you have better survivability. 4 out of 4 refreshing is also huge with the rapier, because it's all about cooldowns with the rapier here. That's why we run nimble coat, and that is a mandatory thing. Okay, leeching flurry is also, you need that with the rapier because you want the health and the invulnerability you get from it. Heal for 26% of the damage dealt by flurry. Gain a half second of invulnerability when you use flurry. Let's say we're in the first boss of the Hive and he's going to slam down. I can time that with flurry, have that half second invulnerability, and will not take damage. So I don't stop DPSing and I don't stop damage. Also, you can riposte and absorb 100% of the damage and not be hit. You return a stun hit, and then you will get your cooldowns quicker. We'll cover that here in a bit. Nimble coat, put enchanted ward on there. 4 out of 4 refreshing also, and then health. That is what comes on there. Enchanted ward, omnidirectional evade. This is huge. Must have on the rapier for evade rapier, and really nowadays for bleed rapier. 8.2% damage for 2 seconds after using evade. However you say this word is upgraded when applied. You can evade in any direction, and that way it will still work. So not only if I evade forward do I get the extra bonus damage, I also get empowered. If I evade backwards, same thing, left, right, all that good stuff. Okay, that's going to give you your empowerment when you evade. If you didn't see it before, when I evade, you will see the empowerment pop up. Boom, right there. That is why you want empowerment on your amulet. We'll get to that here in a second. Now, this gem I wanted to show you is different than the Cupristine Onyx we're all familiar with. That is 2.5 physical damage absorption. This gem, if you really want to get into this class and do a little bit more damage, 2% physical damage absorption, your melee attacks deal 1% more damage. So if you have a whole set that you can, set aside for the Hive or whatnot, then you can feel free to do that and do a little bit more damage. It's not necessary. It's, really overkill, but it's an option I wanted to go over out there. Enchanted ward, refreshing and health here on this piece, bis, and then enchanted ward and health on this piece. So I have 5 pieces of enchanted ward, so I'm going to be well protected from the light and heavy attacks. What offhand weapons would you want to run with the rapier? The great thing about the rapier is very versatile in offhand weapons. You can run the ice gauntlet, fire staff, you can even do the flail, you could do musket, you could do just a lot of different things. With the more statted into dex build of the evade rapier, I like to use the bow and I like to use the musket. Now the musket and bow, any offhand weapon is for burst damage or mob control. Same thing with the great axe. Sometimes I'll go in there with the great axe. I have this one spec'd into dex. I can throw that on right there. I'll just have to make sure I get back to the 350 dex here. Even though this is low gear score, it is spec'd in dex. If you have one that you can make down at the Cutlass Keys pool down there and spec it into int, or you could do dex, that would be great. Enfeebling Maelstrom is what you want on here. The rest, is cool. Vicious is cool because it obviously helped do more damage. Sundering stacks, it's fine. But you're going to get on here, throw your grab well, and you're going to Maelstrom to weaken the enemies. Attention new players. This is the most unutilized weapon in Mutations and the Hive that I see. It's not even close. The importance of a great axe in a mutation and a Hive is to help group mobs, to help control them and help kill them quickly. If you could throw the gravel above the enemies, that's why you see a lot of us in the M3 runs, we'll throw it above the enemy's head. It actually feels like it pulls them together better, but you don't take a risk of throwing it on ground level and a spider just came dashing or an enemy came dashing and you just hit them in front of you and it does nothing. But then once you aim up and you throw the grab well, then you want to Maelstrom. That second hit will weaken them 20. Let's see, this is only a 678 great axe, so it's 27% for 8 seconds. So that's a big weakening, okay, for a long time. And then you get in there and start evading. It is the most underutilized weapon in dungeons. Like I said, if you want them to go faster, learn how to use the great axe, please. Here we are. We're going down to the Heartrunes here. I don't have one slotted because I kind of want to go over all of them with you. For the sandworm, you will be running a firestorm. You see I have 3 of them here. Well, they all kind of do different things here. This one would be for the sandworm, cleansing storm. It will help get rid of your acid burn, okay? And also in fire mutations, it helps get rid of your fire damage and the dot effects from it. If you are doing acid chest runs, you could easily make one of these, and that will get rid of your acid. If you somehow fell in there and got, you know, acid burn or whatnot, happens to all of us, then, you know, you can use that. Brutal vines is going to be used by probably way too many people in the hive. If you join a public hive, everybody's putting down vines, it seems like. So this one you shouldn't probably have to worry about, but it inflicts rend, reducing a target's armor by 20% for 5 seconds. It reduces your stamina generation, so remember that. Inflicts weaken on hit, reduces target damage 20% by 8 seconds. It's a really, really good one. Main spearmen usually carry this one. You could do a dot effect on the boss, let's say with a brutal heart rune, a bile bomb. This comes in really handy once you get into mutations. Certain ones and need starstone. Increase incoming healing reduction to 50. Really, we're just going to be worried about the dot damage. And 150 damage per second projectile, no longer classic cow. So this is good for bosses. You just put that on the boss and that nature damage will tick really nicely. We don't ever use the Stalworth Heart Rune of Descent. I mean, if you want to maybe use it on the second boss or whatnot, I don't know. Don't ever use the brutal or the cunning heart rune. Okay, these are my troll heart runes. Just don't. PvP, these heart rune of dark descent is actually really good. So the sandworm right here, the brutal one is trash. Don't ever make it. The sandworm that applies disease is pretty good to apply a nice dot to the enemies. But mostly you're going to be using either the brutal heart rune of detonate on the first boss. Don't use it anywhere other than that in the hive, or vines, one of the firestorms, and different things like that, whatever you fancy. But I just kind of want to go over those for a second. Make sure you have your desert sunrise here. This is going to help reduce the damage of dots, okay, for 40 minutes. That is huge. Make sure you have your int food or whatever food you're going to use. Make sure you have your honing stones. Make sure you have your coatings and ward pots. Make sure you have your trophies up in your house. But let's go over the jewelry real quick. Kind of got sidetracked there. The amulet, the first boss is strike, second boss is slash, the last boss is nature. Okay, so as you see right here, I have the first boss, 1 strike, empowered in health. That would be your bis amulet. Now if you get a 725, obviously bis, not this one, but 725 with those perks, that's bis. And then here, slash protection health, if you got empowerment, that would be bis. And then here, nature protection, empowered, and health would be bis. Those 3 would work in the hive. The ring I choose to use, since the first boss and last boss don't have backs, and now the first boss does have a back when you stand break, but majority of your hits will be on backless enemies in there because the spikes are also, I guess, technically enemies. So you want to get more criticals to get your cooldowns going better. Now, keen awareness is really good. A lot of times when we run with really good groups, like a company run, we'll be in power cap. So if we have thrust damage here, it won't even take effect. So keen awareness is always better for us. Now, if you're in a public hive, you'll probably never be in power cap. So you can go with thrust or keen awareness. I just choose to wear this. It has nothing to do with elemental stuff unless I have a split stat gem in one of my offhand weapons. I always have a diamond in the rapier. And earring, what kind of earring should you use? Empowering toast, a must for DPS, okay? Once you drink a potion, you will get empowerment. 10% empowerment for 8 seconds, okay? Now, we take mana pots to do it, so we don't waste our health potions. So keep that in mind. Refreshing toast and nimble or whatever you fancy here is fine for the last perk. It's up to you. Now, let's go over the let's go over the attributes here. Let me put on my actual weapon that I normally use. As you see here, some of the offhand weapons. And like I was saying earlier, you can make the great axe into intelligence like I did the hammer here. I have this for worm for the stand break phase. And that way it specs really good. If you have to use the tuned leather pants for any reason and you want to go intelligence, you know, is your offhand so you don't over magnify into dex, then hey, there you go. But that's if you don't have nimble coat. Let's go over the attributes here. You want to be 25 strength for the 5% light attack damage buff. You want to be 350 dex for the extra 15% crit chance while empowered, and you'll do most damage that way. The rest or 25 into focus for the 5% ability cooldown reduction, and the rest into int or whatever con you fancy, 50 or less. Okay. Weapon skill tree. Rapier. This is traditional evade rapier setup. With that riposte, if you don't know what that is, it's that model looking pose you do. You basically are invulnerable to all damage. When you riposte, which is that turnaround stun hit that you do, you gain empowerment, increasing damage 10% for 3 seconds. And then you also reduce the cooldowns by 20%. So anytime he's about to slam and you want to riposte, or do the tail whip, especially do the riposte, okay? When he's about to slam, try to learn how to get the invulnerability timing down, because that is actually really fun, and it is a way to keep doing damage while, you know, not blocking or riposting. So that is the skill tree of the evade rapier. Now, after covering the ability skill tree here, let's go ahead and show you what that looks like in action. It's very simple. It's basically 2 maneuvers, but what you're going to want to do is evade, and you're going to light attack, which is auto, as a lot of people call auto, and then flurry, auto, evade, auto, flurry, light attack, evade, light attack, flurry, light attack. Like I said, light attack and auto are the same thing, okay? And that's what you're going to do. And see the 3 bleeds right there that you're stacking? Well, the bleed rapier guy will end up popping those and make them go away, but he'll do a massive like 30 to 40,000 damage hit when he does it, okay? So basically your job is to do this. Evade, light attack, flurry, light attack, evade, light attack, flurry, light attack, evade, light attack, flurry. And try to do that as quick as you can. And that's all you're going to do, okay? It's very simple. It's the easiest DPS weapon to get used to, okay? You might sometimes, depending on cooldowns of the enemy, you might have to do 2 evade and light attacks before you get to that flurry. That's perfectly fine. But try to time it to where you can get your cooldowns quickly. And that's all you're going to do. And that's it. You're about to take a tail wipe, boom. You just riposte it, and then you're back to doing your job. And that's all you do. You just spam buttons and get carpal tunnel, okay? That's all you do. Now, those 3 bleeds, you're just stacking those for the bleed rapier, like I said, so don't worry about them. Then how you want to use your offhand weapon is you simply want to just switch to your offhand weapon. Let's say if you're going out for spikes and you get done killing spikes, you're going back to the boss, you just simply dodge roll, hit. Now I got some bleeds and damage going, and there's some extra burst damage real quick, and I can get back to just doing my rapier stuff. You don't want to stay on your offhand weapon. Your offhand weapon is there to support, and that's why my offhand weapon has enfeebling poison shot. Poison shot hits apply weaken, reducing the target's damage by 28% for 8 seconds. Huge, okay? Huge. That's what you need, as many people applying weakening in different forms as you can. All right, well, hopefully that explains the rapier build. There's really not much more to go over other than that. It's a very simplistic build, and once you understand it and once you play with it, I guarantee you, everybody I've tried to show this build to, they always fall in love with it, and then they really love the riposte right there. When they can block so much damage by simply riposting, they love it. And then when they can do the invulnerability and get used to doing that and blocking damage, I mean, they're just in love with the class. If you want a boss to go try this out at, you go right down here to this shrine, the Admiral Shrine. You come right over here to my boy Frank, which is called the Treasure Boss. And you go over there and you can evade and practice perfectly on him. He's a level 70 elite enemy. He's made out of solid gold and is a lost enemy, but it is perfect combo timing for practicing evade. You've seen me do that plenty on stream. If you haven't, check by anytime. Tell me to go over there and I'll go, okay? I'm gonna let you find out what that is when you get there if you decide to go. Let me know how it goes, and I'll see you on the next video. Later.